Hello, 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 and welcome to the newest episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk Live. We are live, back, better than ever. Nikki Soup and Sausage doing some magic in the back rooms, getting us back to you guys live on Facebook, YouTube, and the Twitterverse. Really excited to be here. It's your host, Brian Weigel. Really excited for today's show. We're going to have a special guest. We'll cover that here in a second, but I'm sure you can read on your all headers. We got the big main man, Justin Hoyte. But before we get into Justin, I want to welcome, my second, my best friend, but, us two twins, definitely the least good looking. Brad, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing well. It only took us 203 episodes to get rid of Nick Zuberling, so I'm doing all right.
Oh, ouch. That's kind of harsh. Glad to have you back here, pal. And, we got this other main man, Jeff Wallner, returning. Jeff, how does it feel to be the cream filling in the Weigel Oreo sandwich this evening?
What?
It's a little unnerving, especially when you state it that way. But please, no, excited to be here as always. Appreciate you guys having me.
Well, I'm very excited to have you out here live for your first ever Cincinnati Soccer Talk live show. Hopefully going to have you on many, many, many more of these, the Professor Jeff Wallner. Guys, again, we're really excited to have you here. We got a lot to talk about today. We'll have Justin Hoyte here on in a few minutes. We're going to break down some breaking news coming out of Major League Soccer. ESPN reports some news on what the players are going to have to go through potentially to get the Major League Soccer season back. We're also going to have some listener questions. We're also going to have a little game, I guess we could call that, here in a little bit about what we're going to enjoy or maybe give up to resume matches back in Cincinnati. And we're real excited to have that. So, guys, if you want to get in touch with us for today's show, please make sure to check out all of our, we're watching all of our social media out there. Please send your messages into us on Facebook, Twitter. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. We're all watching that here. Guys, we excited to have Justin Hoyte here in a minute? Brad, you excited to talk to your main man?
Yeah, of course, man. He's always open. I think he might be ready to go here.
All right. Well, guys, let's welcome in here, Justin. How we doing, Justin? This is Brian Weigel with Cincinnati Soccer Talk. How you doing, man?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you? How's everyone?
Doing well. We're very excited. We have a lot of fans of FC Cincinnati here waiting to listen to you here today, sir. So
that's fantastic. That's good. Welcome to all of them.
Yeah, we are very excited to have you. So first and foremost, how are you? How's your family doing?
Yeah, family's doing good. I'm not doing too bad. Just keeping fit, staying in, and just waiting for this all to pass and wait until we get the green light to start again. So just doing stuff with the team I'm at now behind the scenes to get everything prepared, ready for when we start back, and keep on our winning path and start making the club more known in Miami and all over the world, really. So there's a lot of planning we're doing behind the scenes. So being busy, but doing everything at home kind of thing. So, yeah.
Of course, that club you're
challenging
now involved with. Yeah, that club you're now involved with is Miami Beach Club de Football or Miami Beach CF. So how has
Miami Beach Club de Football? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how has your journey been over the past 6 months, ending your time here in Cincinnati and going to Miami? How did that all evolve?
It kind of evolved while I was in Cincinnati, if I'm honest. I kind of was talking to the founder of the club, Tony. I've been speaking to him for many years. He's become a close friend. And he told me he was interested in starting a team in Miami South Beach. And, what's my situation at the time? I didn't know my situation at Cincinnati. I was hoping to stay one more year. That would be this current season. But so he was always like, well, if I do start the club and blah, 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 you're more than welcome to come down with your experience to help out and stuff like that. So I kind of gave him a call and said, I kind of knew Once the things changed at Cincinnati, my situation kind of changed. I kind of spoke to him and got in touch with him, and we were talking nonstop. I actually went down when the season finished in Cincinnati to Miami to meet him, and talks and things went well. So I'm here now today with the team and just trying to get everything sorted. We've come a long way in such a short period of time. We've got a good coach, good crop of players, and it's a developing team. But yeah, a lot has been happening since I was at Cincinnati, really, when I got told I wasn't going to stay on there for another year. So that was kind of my path, really. And I've always wanted to live here, so to get the opportunity to play and live somewhere here, goes hand in hand.
Justin, it's Jeff Wallner. It's nice to hear your voice.
Hi.
I'm glad to hear everything is going
Thank
well.
you.
I did see the interview that you did with Goal.com, and it talked a lot about how you're working on the business side at Miami Beach CF. Can you describe your role and how do you see it evolving?
So my role is kind of firstly, I'm a player, but I'm kind of helping them develop the team. We have plans of doing like an academy and going on from there. But I'm kind of in all parts of it, really. It's all new to me, the business side of it, the managing side of it, and even say like the social media side of it. I'm learning more and more as I go on that side of it. But I'm kind of involved everywhere in any way possible that they want me, really. They see my experience is valuable, been playing all over the world, and I've learned a lot with various different clubs, and I learned a lot from my time at Cincinnati. So I'm kind of using that experience and knowledge and bringing that with me. So I'm kind of, I don't know, whatever they want, I'm kind of helping out, which way in any way possible. So yeah, it's challenging. I've never experienced certain things, but I'm learning, and hopefully it can develop into something special, which we think it can do. So we have ambitions of obviously getting to the USL, either the Championship or League One, and that's our goal. And we won't give up until that happens.
And hopefully you'll certainly get the opportunity to do that. What's the latest in the UPSL in terms of the plan for 2020? Is there a plan developing right now? We're obviously hearing a lot of leagues, both MLS and international in Europe, that are pondering playing in front of empty stadiums, neutral sites. How's the plan kind of evolving in the UPSL?
I think with the UPSL, I think they released like a statement, I think it was last week or the week before, saying that they hope to get the season up and running again very shortly, hopefully by the end of the month, really. We've got a schedule that all well and good, that everything is safe to do, so then we'll return play or even start training again. So I think hopefully by the end of May, middle of June, we can hopefully get back into playing. And I think we'll say lucky, but the lucky, we only played one kind of game, so there's a lot we need to catch up on. But I know the league are doing everything that they need to do to get the games back safely. And I think they have a schedule ready for us to fit all the games in, and then playoffs and finals when needed. So yeah, we're just waiting for the green light, really. But I think we're kind of lucky being in the UPSL for now that we don't have to travel very far for our games. It's all in Florida, and we're not. I think our furthest game is maybe an hour away. So in that sense, other than being in the MLS, you don't have to travel too far. So hopefully, if they, the restrictions are you can play in certain places in Florida, then we'll get the green light to play.
So, Justin, you've got some you've got a unique experience, and this whole off season, the coronavirus, it's something that's never been faced before among all these professional leagues. But you joined FC Cincinnati very late in the preseason, shortly before the season started. Came in on a trial, so your build-up time for that season was quite condensed. A lot of teams are going to be facing that same scenario this year. What's it going to be like for a professional athlete to go through a truncated, preseason? You're talking maybe a couple weeks before they start the season. Like, what are some stuff that might come to mind that might cause some issues or difficulties there?
I think what it is the fact that they started obviously early on in the year, had their preseason. I think it was 2 games did everyone play, and then it kind of stopped everything. So then it's like your body kind of goes into like rest mode. And then it's like, right, now it's like we need to pick up again. And even if they say the league is going to return in 3 weeks, it still takes that intense training. And I think it'll be difficult because you haven't got that, in preseason, you have preseason games. It's like you're not going to have that kind of preseason game. We're just going to go straight back into the season, which is, kind of tough. And I mean, when I come to Cincinnati, I come on trial. I went back, and then I come back, and then it was kind of like I played maybe 45 minutes, and then I played my first game and got injured. So I think it's kind of, the risk of getting injured, and I think a lot of players and teams are wary of that. So I think they're doing everything they can now to get the players prepared that, you might not get that 1 game, 2 game to prepare or and stuff like that. You're going to be, straight into games. So I'm sure the players have been keeping fit and healthy during their off time, really, because I think that's important. I don't think there's any player that would have just sat and done nothing because, trust me, if you was to go back now and start training, you'd be feeling it and you wouldn't be match fit for maybe a few months. So I'm sure the players have kept fit, and the clubs and Cincinnati for sure have been keeping track on the players, and I'm sure they've all been doing stuff safely. So I'm sure Cincinnati will be ready for when it goes, but it's just that unknown really of when it might start back really. So, but I think the players are just happy to get back to the training field, and the coaches are happy to get the players back and try and get them in shape and ready for the next game when that might be.
Have you, Justin, been following, since you spent so many years in England, have you been following the Premier League's kind of ongoing saga of kind of trying to formulate their plan for a restart, and some players expressing some concerns about their own health and the health of their families? Have you been following that, and also kind of what's the feeling on your club about that, about getting back to playing football?
Yeah, I follow everything. I think being a sports person and being in England for so long, and my family being there, I kind of check to see what's going on down there. Me, Spurs? No, not never Spurs. No way. No way. Arsenal need to make sure they beat their next game anyway. That was the next big game before the whole virus thing, but I mean, I check and make sure everything is fine, and I follow what's going on in England for sure, because I think Premier League is such a huge thing, and such a huge everyone watches it across the world. So if the Premier League was to stop, I don't think no one would know what to do, and in that sense, but everyone wants to watch the game. I mean, even me now, I'm like thinking, I can't wait for the games to be back on. But obviously at the same time, I'm thinking, well, you got to worry about not just the player safety, but the staff safety, the family safety, and everyone is safe, because the last thing I think the Premier League or anyone would want is for someone to catch the virus, or to say, and then something bad happens, just to get sports back on. So I think the way I see it is that as long as the safety of the players and their families and everyone at the club is first and foremost the main thing we have to think about. And then I think if that's all safe and the government and everyone says it's okay for them to return, then I think it can get back to how it was. It probably might not be the same. It'll be a lot different with no fans, and obviously the atmosphere and stuff they won't experience. Something different for them, but if it does return, it will. I'm sure, but I think they have to finish the league because at the end of the day, what's going to happen if they don't finish the league. But some way, I think they'll finish the league, whether it'll take a few months or they can fit it all in. But as long as it's safe for the players to return and no one's at any danger, then I think it can go ahead.
Yeah, there's actually a really good article in Sports Illustrated about the NFL, but you could potentially apply several of those things towards the EPL. Yeah, now I know it's May versus August, but there's quite a few things that can happen, I think, to get that going. Now, kind of transitioning, you excelled here at FC Cincinnati. People adored you, and now you're moving into potentially front office management as well as playing in an amazing city down in Miami. I'm jealous. How will you kind of reflect on all this when it's said and done on your decision to move to the United States to play soccer?
For me, I've always wanted to play, soccer, in America for a long time. Many years, even since I was at Middlesbrough before, when Kai Kamara was part of Middlesbrough. I was always talking to him, can I try and get to America? So it was a long time coming. And for whatever reason, it wasn't my time. But I just look back at the times when I was sat there and I didn't have a team. And I actually wrote, me and my friend talk about it all the time. My family talk about it all the time. We actually sat there in my living room writing letters, emailing, finding out different general managers, different coaches, different owners. And just writing letters and emails to clubs, saying, wrote out a CV and everything, and I've still got that now on my laptop to say, I'm available, I can play in this position, I've achieved certain things, would they be interested? And, even USL teams, and a lot of them said no, for different reasons. So I think when I look back, and I got the opportunity to go to Cincinnati, I knew that once I just had that one chance that I needed to showcase myself, that I was going to grab it with two hands and make sure I made something of it. So, when I look back, I can say it was tough at first at Cincinnati to settle in, and for different reasons. I didn't have my family for 9 months, that some people might not know. It was tough to start off with, but one that I'll look back and say, and I really enjoyed. We had some great moments, not just with all the players that come and went, but with all the staff and the fans also. And I think leaving England and going to a place that's got 30-odd thousand fans, and the minimum fans we got, I think, was 20-something thousand, was something that you never would expect. Well, I never expected coming to America, and just the feeling I had playing in front of the fans. It was like I was back in England anyway, and the atmosphere and the marching and all stuff like that the fans done, I think, was fantastic. So now I'm trying to create. We might not be able to create the same thing in Miami, but if I can get that same kind of atmosphere or just that feeling and that bond between the fans, the club and the players, even if I can get a little bit of that, then that's something amazing. But I really enjoyed my time at Cincinnati, and I can only thank the fans, the club, obviously, for picking me, and a lot of credit goes to the coach at the time, Alan Koch, for even giving me the opportunity, because he didn't have to.
When you look back at 2019, what kind of sticks out? How do you kind of assess that year for you personally?
From what, being in the USL to get to the MLS, or that journey, or the journey of
your final season in MLS?
It was relief. I told everybody now it was relief because it took me so long and so many letters, emails, and everything just to try and get to the MLS. And I said one day that's one league I want to play in, and I achieved it. So for me to even achieve that after saying and trying for so long was something special, and even more so to be able to do it with a team that you kind of like, went from USL to MLS is like promotion, you would say. But it was tough. I think for the team, being the first year in the MLS, it was tough as a team. And we wish we could have done better and got more results, but for whatever reason that didn't work out. But on a personal note, it was good because I got to play a lot of games, and I got to play in some big stadiums, some nice stadiums, some good atmospheres, and I got to play with some really good players. I learned a lot about myself playing in that league. I knew that I could, handle myself in that league, and to play in the top league was really good. So, for me, it was great to even get, part of the MLS team, especially when you're in the USL and you're not sure if you're going to make the grade for the MLS. But no, it was something great, and I enjoyed playing the amount of games I did. Sad I didn't get to play one more game at Nippert, but that's life.
Yeah, I know we were all. I think it was that Orlando match. We were all hoping you'd get in there at the end, but you left your mark on this town. I would have to say.
I think that's the main thing. I mean, I would have loved to have got on, but it wasn't meant to be. And unfortunately, I didn't get that moment for me or the fans or anyone. But at the same time, no one can take away what you might be able to take away that last opportunity I got to say bye to the fans, but you'll never be able to take away the close relationship I had with the club and the fans. So unfortunately, that was taken away from me not playing the last game. But I'll never get that taken away. The close connection I had with the fans and the club. So in my side, that's fine. That's not a problem.
I was going to say that in almost every single interview we've had with players or staff, they've mentioned you as like the role model, the guy that they look up to. They want to model their careers after, how you treat your body, how you approach matches, practice, everything. What does it mean to you personally that you've meant so much to these guys, not just in Cincinnati, but just across your career?
I think it's an honor to even think that players and staff and people think that about you is amazing. Kind of taken back by it. I didn't think people would say that about me. I mean, I just give 110%, and I'm just myself really at the end of the day. No matter what anyone says, I'm just myself, and they can the fans. I had a connection with the fans because I was just myself on the field. Had a laugh and a joke on the side, even during the games and stuff. But when it was serious, I was serious. So, in that sense, I was always willing and able to talk to anyone that wanted to talk about my career. I was always asking about their career, and I was always looking after them. For me, that was how I kind of grew up in the game, and how some of the top players treated other people, how they were on a day-to-day basis. And I learned a lot from certain players. So I took little bits from people in whether it was good points or bad points. I learned a little bit from everyone and brought that with me and in every club I've been to. So for people to say that, it's an honor. It really is an honor. And I just thank them for that, because obviously without you as journalists, the press, the staff, and the players, and my family also, who are the most important, that wouldn't be possible. If I didn't have that backing and that support, none of that would be possible. So I'm kind of taken back by it, but I really thank everyone for their kind words, and I'm just glad that, I left a good impression on everybody, and that was my main goal, really.
Justin, you've probably been asked this question many times, but you mentioned the people that have had a significant influence on you during the course of your career. Can you describe the impact that Arsene Wenger had on you, both personally and as a player?
Personally, for me, it's fantastic. I mean, to have someone who was spent so many years at Arsenal, who changed the game of, I'd say, football for say, or soccer, and the way Arsenal performed on and how they were off the field, and he changed a lot. So to have him as a mentor, and for me to even work with him was something special. And I took a lot from him, from his approach, and his the way he was with players. He was never, I'd say he was never one-sided with anyone. He spoke to everyone, made sure everyone was fine. And just the way his coaching methods were just great. And even when I spoke to him, when it was my time to move on, he was never bad about it. He said, you're a player, very good, who needs to play regular football. And I think you'll thrive off playing regular football, and you'll do great things as a player. So no, I take a lot from what he said, and it's a great inspiration, and probably the person, football person who I am today, and why I want to continue is a lot down to Arsene Wenger, really.
Well, Justin, thank you so much for your time in coming on here. We've been blessed to watch you on the field for the past several years, and you've been a great addition to this club, and one that many people will never forget. So truly, as a fan, thank you so much for everything you've done here to make our club and our city a better place. And we wish you the best of luck. We hope you always stay wide open and can get a goal. And we'll keep cheering you on. Hopefully have you back here in the orange and blue too in some capacity.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, I'll try and stay open now. I'm in a new position now with my new team, but hopefully I can score a goal or two. But thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone at Cincinnati again. Thank you to you guys during my time at the club. And even now, I still get people messaging me saying thank you. So I just want to thank everyone for that. Just stay safe, and I hope the best for the team moving forward. This new stadium looks really nice, so I hope all the guys get to enjoy that, and hopefully I'll see you lot there soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Justin.
Take care. Be safe.
Take care, Justin.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And that was Justin Hoyte, club legend, Mount Rushmore of FC Cincinnati. Very glad that he took some time out of his busy schedule to give, to connect with you fans. That's what we're here for at Cincinnati Soccer Talk, is to make sure we keep connecting everyone in our great community. And I'll tell you what, there's not many people better than Justin Hoyte. Brad, what is your takeaways from talking to Justin? Another possibly final time.
Oh, I was getting a little emotional talking to him a little bit, just because all the great moments. And I see a bright future. I think on this side of the Atlantic, getting into the front office side, maybe the management side. Not sure what he wants to do, but if he's open right now, we got an open manager spot, so can't do any worse.
We got to get them badges. It's Jeff. He's a class club legend. Where do you think he ranks all time in terms of the impact he's had in the first 5 years of FC Cincinnati?
Well, I think it's hard to measure the impact he's had. He had a great impact on the players around him, the people around him, the fans. He did a lot of things on and off the pitch that don't really show up in the stats. Quite a few things to do. He's first class, and his experience is invaluable. And I'll go as far as to say American soccer is lucky to have Justin Hoyte, because I think he'll make an impact here. He's already making an impact, but I think he'll go on and do great things, in whatever capacity that is. He's bright. He's charismatic. He's personable. He's very smart, and he's going to do a lot of great things in this country. So we're lucky to have him.
We just need to convince Yap Stam to bring him on board.
Not a bad idea.
I'll tell you what, this is going to sound stupid. We were at a scrimmage between UC and FC Cincinnati, and he was, I guess, on the books as trialist.
Yep.
And there's like 30 of us. It was cold, snowy, like just awful evening.
Horrible.
And everybody's like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy?" And like we all like kind of got together and we're like, "Okay, we think it's." The guy's name was like Fanuel Cavito, whatever.
I thought it was Christensen from Sacramento.
Well,
Christian, something like that.
I drew the short straw, and everybody made me ask him who he was. And I'm like, "Hey, are you whatever?" And he looks up to me, like puts up his like eyebrow and goes, "Nah, mate." Oh, I felt like an idiot. Loved it though. Loved it. So glad to talk to Justin. So real quick, special shout out to all you guys supporters. Thank you so much for your support and connecting with the show. We wouldn't be here without you guys. Special shout out to King's Hammer and Tim Bronsel, Tom Rose, Matt Adamchick, Mike Hudson, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, Mike Bowman, Kathleen Francis, Matt Emholt, Matthew Long, Joe Kaling, and Tara Mullins. Thank you all so much for your support. And to learn about how you can support CST, please go over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. Guys, if you want to talk, get on the show tonight. We do have phone lines open. Nicky Soup and Sausage, Nick Superling. You're never going to lose that name, producer Nick. He is manning the phones. So if you want to call in and talk to us, have a question, want to just give us your thoughts on the off season, or I guess not off season, quarantine season, we'll call it. Call us 513-399-KICK. 513-399-KICK. It has felt like the longest off season ever, hasn't it?
What I was just telling you guys before the show, it has been 7.5 months since FC Cincinnati played a home match.
Not so fun.
It's like 10 million, 15 million seconds or something like that. I was reading.
Well, you need to do the
more
math
you know.
You have to do it. Give us exact times. Thanks. All right, guys. So let's dive down into some Major League Soccer news. So if anybody wants to call on, please do 513-399-KICK. Today at like 6 p.m., it says Monday the 11th, ESPN's Jeff Carlisle and Noah Davis reported that Major League Soccer is asking the MLS Players Association to take a 20% pay cut across the board. The league is also asking the MLSPA to accept additional financial reductions as a part of the salary cuts that would run into approximately tens of millions of dollars, according to sources. Of course, there is no specific details on that yet, but I'm sure we'll hear through the grapevine sometime this week or in the next what exactly is going to happen. But briefly, there's no consideration for players on the lower end of the pay scale. There were rumors that like if you made less than $100,000, you'd be exempt from pay cuts. From this new proposal, everybody across the board will potentially be on the chopping block for losing some of their money this season, unfortunately, the salary. Cuts would go into effect on July 1st, but to date and up to July 1st, players will receive 100% of their salary, which I believe somehow equates to about half their year's salary. Overall, about 10% of player salaries, they'd be lost, with the remainder being made up of those non-disclosed concessions that I briefly mentioned. Also, possibility, which we briefly heard, is that the league will hold a mini tournament in Orlando, possibly one other market, where teams would be divided into 4 groups, and the top teams would advance to a knockout stage. That would all conclude by September, with the hope that we would get all the clubs back into their markets to play games, potentially in front of fans. We're not sure yet. Dr. Anthony Fauci today said that is a potential, depending on how the antiviral testing. He said that with Peter King of SI.com today, so that was something to take into account. All that being said, that tournament would count towards the season standings. So say FC Cincinnati got bounced out early on, which is the likelihood. Unfortunately, they would play some consolation games to make up the matches on the standings. So, Jeff Warner, with all that being said, let's look at the financials. We discussed this a couple weeks ago. Do you think it's in the league's best interest to be cutting their players when that's a differentiating factor that this league could have to lure players in the future?
It's not a good look. It's unprecedented. What we're dealing with right now is unprecedented. We've discussed it ad nauseum. The situation that all sports leagues are going through right now. The thing that kind of jumps out from the ESPN report is that there's no consideration made for players on the lower end of the pay scale.
Mm-hmm.
MLS is different than much. It's operating in a different area than a lot of the American or most of the American professional sports leagues, where most of the players in this league are not making a considerable amount of money. This is going to have a significant impact on some players. And it'll be interesting to see how this compares to what's proposed potentially in Europe. If we don't have seasons that are finishing over there, what other leagues are doing. But people are watching this, players are watching this, agents are watching this, to see how this league is going to take care of its players during this time. So I don't know how this will be perceived, but again, the fact that there's no concession and that for the players on the lower end of the pay scale is a little surprising, just because 20% to your top level players is much different than 20% for the majority of the players on MLS rosters.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I think it was in that article. It said something along the lines of that they went originally with a top-down proposal where the more expensive players got hit harder, and then I think there was like $100,000 cap or something like that. So hopefully within the discussions, like I know some of the leagues around, like the NBA, I think they pushed back. There's some sort of CBA rule that allowed them to have these negotiations to discuss pay, because something's going to have to change. The revenues are going to be dramatically off. And so, I think, in the NBA, it's more serious because I think it was like 51% of the revenue goes to the owners, 49% goes to the players. So the players need to take some cut. Now with Major League Soccer, I think that, the owners would say, we're not making any money. And the players are saying, most of us aren't making any money. So I think there should be some discussions and something that hopefully both sides can come together and then make sure that it's going to continue to still allow this league to grow.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to have any. We don't want to take many, if any, steps back right now. We were just at such a great point 2 months ago where we felt like we were just gonna just explode.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging, and what they're hearing, or what the rumors are, is that the owners are trying to go for about $30 million in direct player salaries, and then potentially another $30 million in, I guess, revenue sharing, other avenues. I don't know if that's per diem, I don't know if that's travel, but they're looking to cut costs, and it is definitely a challenging time considering MLS relies on the almighty ticket dollar greatly. So that'll be interesting to be seen. Now, Jeff, we discussed this, I think, briefly last week, but that tournament, does that excite you? They had talked about awarding, the champion of that tournament a CONCACAF Champions League spot. Do you think that's enough to get these players, fans, teams excited for like a mid-season championship?
It all seems a little gimmicky to me, but on the other hand, what do you do at this stage? We're approaching June. Some of the proposals that have been thrown out on how to finish seasons, the fact remains that, and as much as I want to see soccer, as much as I want to see all the sports come back, the sports in this baseball in the summer, college sports in the fall, and certainly MLS, at this point, anything you do is going to have a big flat asterisk next to it. Whatever a team achieves or they don't achieve is going to be a one-off this year. So whatever you can do to recoup money, whatever you can do to help kind of stabilize yourself looking towards 2021, I guess is what you'll need to do. but again, it's square peg into round hole, and it's just trying to figure out how to play as many matches as possible, recoup as much money as possible. But again, it's not a normal season. It's not a normal situation, and nothing about it seems right. But again, what else do we do? This is an unprecedented situation, and the leagues have to do what's in their best interest, and in turn, what's in the fans' best interest to give this country their sports back. But in whatever form that is, it's not going to be normal. It's not a normal situation. And again, every sport, every season and every sport is going to be considered just kind of a one-off in 2020 or even into 2021.
Mm-hmm. I love seeing meaningful soccer. Don't get me wrong. But what's going to happen if you do like a 3 or 4 team round robin bracket and then FC Cincinnati is in spot 3 or 4 and they don't make it to the knockout stage? Then all of a sudden you've got half the teams in Major League Soccer that might not play a game for 3 or 4 weeks. What are they going to do during that time? What are their fans going to do during that time? So I think it kind of sounds cool. And, there's just a lot of questions that need to be answered. I'm sure they could maybe do something, but I don't know.
As I mentioned, they would go into some consolation matches. That's what the report said. So that's something that they would have to do to make sure those teams don't have that. I was going to touch on this subject a little bit later, but I think it's probably a fitting time to do it now. Is Major League Soccer missing the boat on not being more aggressive in returning? I know with the pandemic and everything, this is a very touchy subject, but you look at NASCAR, you look at NFL, they are snatching up the prime TV time slots right now. College football, they have no idea if they're going to be playing. Do you think, I think a tournament like this could be too a financial windfall to MLS to put their foot out there, but in a safe capacity. Should that even be a priority, Jeff?
Well, and we've discussed the safety aspect of all of this and the comfort level of everyone involved, players, their families, game day staff. It all boils down to what's everyone's comfort level. You mentioned was MLS or not aggressive enough? I don't know. We look around the world. You look in Europe and you see every league is kind of struggling with what to do. Some are going to attempt to restart. The Premier League's had a lot of dissension reportedly among players and teams about playing in neutral sites, playing in empty stadiums, or even coming back at all with the current environment in England. So I don't know. The interesting thing in all of this, the MLS situation to me, and this might be a topic on its own, is because FC Cincinnati's situation is really kind of unique by comparison. A second-year expansion club who really, if you look at last year, which we talked about as being kind of a throwaway season, really were ready for their first year with a full roster, something laying the foundation to build off going into the new stadium next year. So you kind of wonder, even a tournament of this type, whatever kind of format they come up with, I wonder how it might benefit FC Cincinnati to just get out there and play matches, whereas maybe another title contending club might view it as, well, this isn't normal, so it doesn't really benefit us much. But FC Cincinnati's situation is so unique that maybe something unique benefits them.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know. Honestly, part of me says, as much as I want sports to be back in 2020, there is a part of me that says, if you can't come back normal, and at this point you can't, just come back in 2021 and let's do things the right way. But I understand the financial aspect of that, and that's huge. I also understand the need for this country to have sports back. I think it's important in that respect.
For me, it comes down to a simple thing, Jeff. The more matches that NICAMP and whoever the manager is going to have to watch our players play together, the better it will be for this club long term.
100% agree. Yep.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to unpack there, and we're trying to unpack it every week for you without beating a dead horse. So, you know how
we'll do that too. So,
1,000 ways to say Albadawi, 1,000 ways to skin this cat. So, I'll tell you what, I can keep up the questions. All right. So, moving on to the new stadium, the West End Stadium, the gorgeous new jewel coming into the West End in 2021. We'll see if it actually opens up then or not. Hopefully we'll get in there. So this week they released all their club seating packages. So it really seems like the club cares about the top 1% of fans. So I'm glad to have that there. Joking all aside, it's going to be about $1,000 to $2,500 for those 2,100 seats in the east side of the stadium. That's the cheapest price point right now. There's alluding to $900 seats all over the place as well. So it could be a pretty penny. We'll see what happens here with FC Cincinnati. But Brad, this is a question that came in on Twitter from Greg Machino. What are your thoughts on the pricing, at least for what you've seen in the new West End Stadium?
What days did the First Financial Club's what, 1,000 to 1,200?
Mm-hmm.
I think he said that Birding said above the side or the second level center pitch is 900 or something, right? I mean, overall, it's not that bad. You think for how many hours you're going to spend there over, 17, 18 matches of a year, I don't feel like it's that outrageous. I'm not sure. So all things considered, it's not bad for what's out there in Major League Soccer at all. I think it would still land us for premium tickets towards the low end of the spectrum. Now, is it going to make somebody who's paying $500 a seat sitting on the 40-yard line upset? Of course it's going to happen, but it was always going to be that way. If you want to make a step up in league, if you want to make a step up in venue facilities, and it's going to be great. You're not going to have to cram in little stalls and Nippert anymore, and you're not going to have little walkways, even though they've done a lot. It's going to be more conducive to the spectator, a lot of options, both on the food side, beverage side. I really don't think it's going to be that bad. And they said what the Bailey's going to be $350. So ultimately, I think that's like a step up of $50 over 2 years. So I think they're still heading along the right path now. And we're also heading into the terrible economic situation, but all things considered, hopefully if we bounce back, I think it's still reasonable.
Well, the cheapest club level ticket at the Bengals, and we'll compare it to the Bengals because that's where a lot of people came from, is $1,500 up to $3,000. That does not include the private suites and everything, but the lower level tickets, and that's where it gets me, is they're the exact same price point as FC Cincinnati. $1,200 for the middle three, $1,100 outside of that, and $1,000 outside of that, and with the corners being about $850. So it's definitely a primo ticket. Now it's 17 games versus, was it 10, something like that?
I mean, but you think about it, for $1,000. We're not in Miami here, people. It's not going to be great weather all the time. We're in Cincinnati. So the first, 20% and the back 20% of the year, weather is probably going to suck. Maybe even more towards that front end of the year. So, for a couple $100, you got the opportunity to go inside if it's terrible weather. I mean, comes to mind the Philadelphia game last year. I would have given somebody $100 a ticket just to be undercover. So all things considered, I don't think it's that bad. Like my wife would have signed up for club seats that night if FC Cincinnati was taking deposits.
Are you
now? I'm not in the the Boston razzle dazzle brazzle income levels getting center of the pitch seats. But you know what? If I play my cards right, you never know.
Yeah,
my wife is still not forgiven me for the Philly match.
Oh my god, that was not the worst.
It was as miserable as I've been at any sporting event, and she still brings it up. So it was all my fault that it was blowing rain. And I switched our seats to get out of the sun, and I ended up on the other side in 118, just 3 rows from being undercover. Oh. And of course, the ponchos were worthless. They made no Plus, it was like 40 degrees or something that night. So on top of that, so
Ken Hecker saved my butt. We had Bailey season tickets, and he's like, "Oh, the 2 seats next to us, they didn't show up. You need to get over here now." We went right over. We were covered, and it still was miserable. I can't even imagine what it was like in the Bailey. They were just taking it right to the face.
Oof. I'll tell you what, though. You asked me this question yesterday. Because we combine our tickets and we try to get a volume amount of tickets as a group and go. And you asked me what my thoughts were if we do those seats. And I said, I think I would almost rather buy, 1 or 2 seats in the Bailey and not use those half the season or give them to friends or whatever versus paying, $1,000 for one seat. And yeah, it's definitely going to cause me to think about, if I'm paying $900 for a top corner, $350 for the Bailey. Yeah, it's tough to take a 5-year-old to the Bailey, but we'll see.
I thought you were throwing your weight around being able to go to more stuff.
Oh, don't even go there. Don't even go there. What a guy.
Most people, when they spend, $500 or $600 on season tickets, they go to the games. They don't just, oh no, I can't make it. I've gotta go push my kid in the stroller.
Jeff, Brad doesn't know.
We're gonna go to the nature preserve.
Brad doesn't know how real life works, Jeff. So.
I know how kids come.
You will one day, pal. Don't worry.
I know how that works.
Yeah. You just rather watch mine for an hour.
In regard to the pricing, I think that we all wanted this, and we all knew it was coming, right? We wanted the new stadium. We knew it was coming at some point. There's a reason why the stadium is 26,000 and not 35. Mm-hmm. I'd have a lot of fans who would ask me, well, why are they only building a 26,000 seat stadium? Well, one, because in this market, it's all about maximizing revenues. They understand there's going to be some attrition. You're going to have some bad seasons. The newness of MLS is going to wear off, but they feel confident. And I agree with them 100% that with the fan base that we have here and the passion for soccer and the passion for this club that we have here and the new stadium and any success at all, they can consistently average a decent amount in a 26,000 seat stadium. But it's all about maximizing revenues. As you said, this isn't LA or Miami. But I think they've done a good job of kind of spreading it out. They've priced where they know they need to make the money, which is you need the club suites, you need that revenue stream, but they're trying to capture the longtime fan as much as they can, just to kind of ease that natural kind of ebb and flow and attrition that you're going to have with crowds over the years. This is a long-term plan. The stadium's going to be around for a long time, and don't think that any of those decisions are made. There's a lot of discussion and a lot of algorithms that go into into ticket prices, and none of it's an accident. And I think they'll do really well. I think it's so far it's been well received. I haven't heard many people running for the hills when they've seen some of these costs.
I'll say this: I think a $1,000 club seat is a wonderful deal in pro sports. That club level, the First Financial Club looks beautiful. When you think about it, over 17, 18 games, it seems to be a pretty good option. My question really will be is how much are the non-club seats going to be, and will they be able to accommodate what some people call the true fans, but the bread and butter fans that you have. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Right. Guys, we have one more segment here. Nothing really to talk to about. No coach. Guys have returned to training, at least individually, so that's exciting to see. I love seeing that photo of Jurgen Locadia on the pitch. Don't know how much more we're going to be able to see that, so we'll see. Glad to see those guys out there getting back things safely, and we pray that everybody can stay safe, not come down with the virus, and keep pulling through and maybe get back on the pitch in July. This is something I listened to on a podcast, things you'd give up to get your favorite thing back. Returning to the stands this year, next year, what things would you give up to be able to get back into the stadium? So I'm going to pose a couple of these questions to you guys. Beer vendors or concession stands? Which one would you pick to give up, and which one would you want to see if you have to give up one? I'll go to Brad first.
If I were to give up beer vendors, could I still buy beer at the concession stand?
Maybe just draft beers, Heineken. Heineken, we'll say Heineken because they're league sponsor.
This is painful. You're getting to the stuff that hurts.
And this is what we're going to deal with.
So I think that I would say beer vendors, but my wife would win, and she would say that she needs to keep, I would say keep beer vendors, and she will not go to the games and would not allow me to buy season tickets if she couldn't get that damn pretzel. So I'm going to have to say she's going to have to keep the concession stands for the sake of my marriage.
Jeff?
I think I don't think there's any question it would be. Well, I could almost do without both because you can eat before or after the game. Especially in the West End Stadium, you'll have a lot more options. Beer vendors, I'm a Premier League snob, but experiencing the Premier League where they can get 40,000 people out of their seats at halftime, down the tunnels to the restrooms, grab a pint and a pie, and back in their seats by kickoff of the second half.
Which they've got to eat and drink before they can go to their seats.
Is absolutely amazing. And there are no beer vendors. You're not allowed to take your beer or food into the seating area. So you have to be finished before you go back in. So I can make it happen. I can get out of my seat and I can get up to a beer booth. Now the thing is Nippert was built for American football. So it's not built for speed, which is a requirement for a soccer match. Hopefully the West End Stadium will cure that. I'm sure it will. But it's not exactly built for speed. So we kind of need beer vendors because there simply aren't enough brick and mortar stands to get beer. You have the craft breweries have tents, but
yeah,
I don't know. That's tough. I would be fine with giving up either because I can make it happen. I can get in line for a beer and be back before kickoff.
I love my beer. I love my beer vendors.
I don't know how you eat a pie.
Yeah.
Those pies are 8,000 degrees.
Never had one.
I thought you were going to say 8,000 calories. It's probably
both.
Well.
Probably both.
No, I was amazed the first time I went over. I was amazed that literally in line, and when the usher comes down and says the players are back on the pitch, they shut the concession stand shut down. And you turn around and you go back to your seat. Unlike America, where the seating bowl doesn't fill back up until you're already 5 or 6 minutes into the second half or the fourth quarter of an NFL game.
Or if really quite amazing. Or if in Orlando ever.
Or ever, right. Yeah.
All right. So this is another topic that we might have to deal with. Will you give up chanting or will you give up the drums in the Bailey? Brad.
Can I give up the flags?
Well, I'm sure you're not going to have any flags. I was thinking about doing that with the next one, so we'll hold off on flags.
I would say I would give up the drums. I would give up the drums before I'd give up the chants. But then I need beer vendors to give me alcohol to keep the throat, smooth, so I could chant the whole time. So definitely would have to preserve the chanting,
even with all the health stuff going on.
If I'm already going to a match right now, I don't give two shits about that. And you ain't going to stop the dumbasses from just shouting stupid stuff on the field. So how's it different than my chant? I mean, people are going to yell. People are going to... Did I say a bad word? I'm sorry. Soubs can bleep it when we're done. Come on. It's a sporting match. If we can go there, but we got to sit there like a church event, I'm not interested in even going.
I just want to let you know that Bill Wolf's on line 1 for you, Brad.
For me?
All right,
no drums. Yes. He's not really on line 1, but
man,
I'm pretty mad.
I was so excited.
I'm gonna make Bill mad too because
dude, he gets in his zone. He gets those shades on. He becomes like William Wolf, like William Wallace.
Jeff.
I think you can. I love the chants and songs, and you've got to have the chants and songs. And I don't think there's any reason why you can't. I don't think it would be too muffled if you had a bandana around your face, right? If you needed to, where you could chant, you could still chant and sing. I'll make Bill and other people mad when I say that I'm not a big fan of the drums. But I would love to keep the chanting, keep the songs, keep all of that. If we go back to playing and we're still in the middle of social distancing, if you have to put a bandana around your face, so be it. But I don't think that'll muffle the sound too much. But the drums, I could do without the drums.
N95 masks in the Bailey. That's what we're gonna call the next chant.
Yeah.
N95 masks in the Bailey. All right. Now this is the tricky one, especially we're gonna say with everything going on right now. Will you give up the march, or will you give up your big pregame festivities at Mex or somewhere else? The tough one, Brad.
It's not very tough for me. Actually, it is tough. I'm gonna give up. I was like, well, shit. You're gonna be next to each other. That's not a bad word. You're gonna be next to each other at the bar before. So why do you have to give up that if to give up the march? I mean, I'd personally rather give up the march. I mean, geez Louise, you can get winded during that one on a 90-degree day. I mean, we're heading into summer. It gets hot. If I've got to wear a face mask, the last thing I want to do is walk 1.85 miles shouting through this face mask, and just that beer breath is just bouncing right back up in my face in 95-degree weather. I mean, that is the last thing that's the least likely thing that I would ever circle as fun. So, plus sweating. I mean, if you're going to be sweating, that mask is going to be going all around. It's going to be horrible. So I'm going to give up the march.
Jeff.
I would be willing to give up the march until we can do the march as it's intended to be done. I mean, that march is like social distancing in reverse.
Oh, yes.
So there's really no way to execute that.
I've heard smoke flares kills the Rona.
Oh, well, if that's true, then maybe we're onto something. So just more smoke flares. But no, if you can't do the march, if there's still some order out there that you can't accomplish that, then let's just table it for now. But I'm confident that eventually we'll get back to a situation where we can do marches, and that's one of the highlights of match day. So
I'll tell you what, if we can get back into Nippert for like late August, early September, and we have to wear masks in the Bailey, can you imagine some of those tan lines that are going to be happening?
Doesn't everyone in LAFC, don't they all wear masks?
Bandanas,
I think they're all in the. I've theorized they're all in the witness protection program. I mean, you just look at those. Look at the people.
Whoa! Shots fired.
Scary.
It took me a second.
Frightening.
Whoa.
Oakland Raiders fans won't sit there. It's frightening.
I want to get one of those like neck things that like it's like from like your under your nose or right at your nose, like through. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not a bandana, but like a shrink.
Much respect to them though, because they do not stop. They're the chants and are constant. It's amazing. I love watching those matches on TV because it is absolutely just deafening. I couldn't imagine what it's like in person. But yeah, the bandana. I love the bandana look. So if that's what you need to use as a mask, I think it would add something. The Bailey full of people with orange and blue bandanas over their face. I don't know.
Sounds like a giveaway night.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Mike's Car Wash, you know what to do. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for joining us so much again, listeners, fans on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. It's really nice to get out and see you guys live on a Monday night. Hopefully we'll keep doing this, try to keep getting more and more guests if possible. It's been a little bit more challenging, I'm sure you know, but we're blessed with guys like Justin Hoyte, who just cares about FC Cincinnati so much. Another person that cares a lot this will kind of be my final thought before I get into Brad and to Jeff this week. I have been messaging with our former head coach, John Harkes, lately, and he's been going through a lot of tough things with his family. His father-in-law was in the hospital. He caught coronavirus, and then he had to go into a rehab center to make sure he was physically able to get back from everything with his breathing issues. And good news is he was just released Saturday, and so he just wanted to send the support back to Cincinnati, saying thank you to everybody who's reached out to him for the support to him and his family. He wishes everybody the best. He can't respond to everybody, but he just wanted to let everybody know thank you so much. He is thinking about us. The Cincinnati is a special place in his heart. His first year was very special, great achievements on and off, and cheers to everybody in Cincinnati. So, Coach Harkes, blessings to you and yours, and please stay healthy and safe, and hopefully see you back in Cincinnati someday. With that being my final thought, I'm going to throw it over to Jeff Wallner. Jeff, what is your final thought on this great evening?
My final thought is I went to the dentist today, and I was never more happy to do something normal, like go to a dentist. It just felt normal. I felt like a human being for the first time in a while to be able to do something normal. Now I had to wear a mask into the office, and obviously not while they were doing the dental work, and then wear a mask out. But aside from that, it was just nice to feel normal. So I think that's kind of a theme of the show tonight is how do we get back to normalcy? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So everybody just hang in there, stay safe, take care of yourself, take care of your families, and things will get back to normal, and you'll be able to have a great day and go to the dentist like me. So.
Part of returning to normal, guys, is a great point, by the way, Jeff. If you're able to, and support your local establishments, I believe they all open at least outdoors this week. Mecklenburg Gardens, love there. My family's been going there, Mustard Club, for a while. They're doing a special event on Friday, I believe. Is it Friday or Wednesday? One of those. Check out their Facebook page. They got all their stuff there. I think they're doing like a big reopening, half price beers, half price food. So go check out Mex, great partner with FC Cincinnati, as well as Dean and Stott. So if you can, go check them out. Brad, final thought?
Yeah, I just want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Talking about getting back to normal and such. That's one thing that where I know we're all excited to be around our families and our Bailey family right now. So just want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. My mother Mary, Mama Subes, I love you. She's a sweetheart. Nick is giving heart signs right over his chest right now for Mama Subes, and all the other mothers out there and all the supporters. So just miss you all, love you all, and can't wait to be together again.
Awesome.
And Louisville still sucks.
If Louisville even plays this year.
Radio Shack's out of business now. Finally.
What did you say?
You think Radio Shack's out of business now? Finally.
Oh. Yeah, Louisville might be out of business soon. We'll see, depending
What's
if
James O'Connor going to do?
They decide not to pay their players at all. They're the model league until they start doing the exact thing that they yell at us for.
I'll tell you what pissed me off, though, this past week.
CONCACAF Champions League?
No, Corbin Bone kissing that badge. That's some bullshit right there. I mean, he's never played a match for them. And to do that, I mean, after spending 4 seasons here, to do that to our nemesis, that is a venial sin, sir.
I just love seeing
or a mortal sin. Mortal sin. Is mortal sin the worst one?
I don't know. You're the one that goes to church.
Remember. Yeah. Shame on you. Thumbs down for the week. Corbin Bone. Mr. Bone. Mr. Bone Saw. No, thank you.
Nick's gonna have fun editing. Good job, Brad. All right.
Now, leave that in there for effect.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all, guys. Please make sure to check out all the stories on our website. Jeff has put a lot of great stories out there. Brad's put one mediocre story out there, and we've done a lot of great things. Talking tactics with Coach Brad Goff. Love you, Brad. We're trying to keep as much information coming to you guys as physically possible, and we got a lot of great bodies here doing it. And so I think I've said this every week, Jeff. You've been an amazing addition to the squad, and we love having you here. Brad, it was great having you guys here this week. So hopefully keep talking to you. I don't know if you'll ever talk to me again, but that's okay too. Guys, please give us your feedback. If you have any topics you'd like to discuss, feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Check us out. DM us at Cincy Soccer Talk on Twitter. Just check us out. Give us any questions, any topics you'd like us to discuss. So we'll be here every week for you guys. For Jeff, Brad, for producer, head chef, Nikki Soup and Sausage, thank you all for checking us out, and we'll talk to you guys again next week.